Welcome to another episode of What I Learned from Bobby Hemmit. You know, I'm just about all Kanye'd out. I've tried to share everything I can about Kanye. So I need to go back to the master and just listen to, get refreshers on whatever I can and just try to share some Bobby Hemmit knowledge. And here is Bobby Hemmit direct. I don't know what he's going to say.
You see,
he's talking about modern day life.
Agent, do you know
Martin Luther King.
all your Martin Luther King drives all over the country was patterned after the one in Atlanta. The one in Atlanta starts in the Confederate graveyard. Now, wait a minute now, the Confederate graveyard. We're talking about Margaret Mitchell is even buried in there. And they had to honor her with the whole going with the wind shit to bury her in the Confederate graveyard. Do you know that Martin Luther King Drive starts in the Confederate graveyard? Now, that's an oxymoron and a contradiction.
Yeah.
Or is it? That means that he had to be the greatest government agent there ever was, the Negro Boule.
Thank you for telling us, Bobby.
And to prove, you can get right on Martin Luther King and you can drive and it starts right in the Confederate graveyard. There's no way the Klan gonna put the road that comes out of the great Confederate graveyard in the capital of the Confederacy and name it after a black man.
Let me pause for a minute. Research this if you don't know about it. I'm not going to get into it. Basically, black people did, but here I am getting into it. Black people did live on their own and have spaces and places, and the rich and the poor were all together because you were all oppressed. And Martin Luther King came in with this pipe dream of integration. And then it effed up your mind because the beast gave you a little bit of opportunity to, in the 70s, to go to school, go to college, and get in the corporate field. And then do equal opportunity employment, which now has been co-opted by other immigrants. And that equal opportunity employment basically is a caste system. Because if it really was equal opportunity, you don't need to know what color somebody is. And Martin Luther King, the concept of him is used to just make black people think that everybody is okay living together, and, you know, if I have money, I can live in a white neighborhood. But if you look up this YouTube channel called Runaway Slave, you are going to hear stories that are not on the news about everyday people getting lynched, raped, robbed, thrown over boats, missing, invited to white people's homes and murdered, and there are zero consequences. The police just say it's an open shut case. If they said a woman jumped over the balcony of the home of white people that she had a sleepover with, case closed. She fell over the balcony, She fell over the balcony. There are so many stories under the YouTube channel Runaway Slave. I encourage you to look it up.
Now, Martin Luther King, as you know, patterned his whole science after Gandhi.
Let me slow him down.
What happened was in the 1950s, you had Elijah Muhammad's movement. You still had
this is nothing new. I'm just listening to Bobby again. I learned this a long time ago.
Was carried over, although they killed Noble Drew Ali. late 30s, early 30s, late 20s, but still, it was still strong enough and it was still holding on. The Nation of Islam was getting stronger. They had a motorcade for Martin Luther King, Elijah Muhammad. They had a motorcade congressional parade for Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1956 in D.C.
That means he fooled a lot of people.
Congress and damned them all to hell.
But he fooled a lot of people then if they honored him.
You had the real civil rights movement started in Harlem with your boy, what's the preacher, Adam Clayton Powell. You had another movement in Mississippi that was going down. And they said, wait a minute. If we got to get on top of it, we got to fashion a movement that can be counter-revolutionary. During the same time, Malcolm had already started teaching, and they needed something to balance that. So the British intelligence called and said, hey, we were successful a couple of years ago with Gandhi, and Gandhi was an agent for the British intelligence. And we was able to get out of India with the non-violent bullshit. And Gandhi being an agent of the British intelligence, and we staged the whole thing. And you know that Britain is still the father of America.
They killed Gandhi.
See what I'm saying?
I think they killed his wife too.
You know that whole
because she was trying to
and all that whole 9 yards.
Carry the torch after him.
Why don't you
They killed her.
find some black person? It was supposed to get Ralph Abernathy at first, but he was a little older. And they found Martin Luther King because he just graduated from Morehouse and the Boston University and all that stuff. And he was a little more fine-tuned. They needed a charismatic person and a little bit younger. And that little Camelot thing with the little pretty wife. You know what I'm saying? And we find him and we will give him these doctrines. And
This is some heavy
we
shit
will
to
do the same
accept.
thing in America with this nonviolent thing that we did in India.
It's amazing
And it's funny
that
how they always throw that Martin Luther King shit up in your face.
Bobby Hemmit
Every
decoded
time you
this.
get funky. Because he was a British intelligence agent, basically an agent for the government, and a Negro bully and all that stuff. But the Confederate graveyard, the street that all the other Martin Luther King streets are patterned after start from the Confederate graveyard.
I guess they're using his energy.
And when I went to Indianapolis, they said
just
I
the
would
name.
start in a Confederate graveyard too.
Luther is a
real
form of
Masonic
Lucifer.
graveyard. Now wait a minute, these are two white graveyards that automatically is going to host a person that was supposed to be the upliftment of black people. They care about him that much? Come on. No, he did a job well done, and they always honor you with a job well done when they give you a holiday.
Yeah.
Why is it one of the most racist presidents in history signed the holiday in 1985 into order? Because it was a dream realized by the whole conservative faction of the Klan and the United States government.
To integrate people and separate black people
And so all of a sudden they took this
into
same
have and
black
have-nots.
figure over to Africa, and now they know Martin Luther King in Africa. And Jesus, the other government agent, if you want to put it that way. JC done took more black women wives.
I want to stop now, though, because I want to make this short.
than
He was talking about, okay, so that ends another episode of What I Learned from Bobby Hemmit. That little excerpt was about Martin Luther King, and however much we want to praise him, if you are conscious and you have removed the veil of illusion off of your mind, you will see what's in front of you is that nothing has changed. Most of it was talk. He was a pawn. He was a bishop. Hey, you know what? Maybe that's why they call bishops in the church bishops. That guy could slide around the whole chessboard. You know? Anyway, that ends another episode of What I Learned from Bobby Hemmit. Sorry to let you know, Martin Luther King was a government agent. Black people lived in their own communities, rich and poor together, caring about each other and trying to overcome the beast in their own communities. The dream fulfilled by white people is to get this martyr person to force integration, break up the unity of black people, and have some black people think that they're accepted in white society. And as I said before, if you looked up on this YouTube channel called Runaway Slave, you're gonna get the wake up call. You're gonna get the actual evidence that shows around the country you are still getting lynched, raped, mobbed, murdered, dragged through the street in